On the 18th of August, 2024, a day that began with the mundane routine of farm life in Limpopo, South Africa, quickly descended into a nightmare that would send shockwaves across the nation. Zachariah Olivia, a 60-year-old pig farmer, awoke to a simple but urgent task. His pigs were hungry and in need of food. However, what should have been a straightforward agricultural concern transformed into a chilling tale of cruelty and betrayal. The day started like many others on the farm. Olivia, along with his 19-year-old son and another farmhand, discussed the best way to address the pigs' hunger. Their decision to invite 2 women and a man to the farm, under the guise of offering work or assistance, marked the beginning of a horrific plot that would reveal the darkest aspects of human nature. Maria, a 45-year-old widow and mother of 4, was one of the unsuspecting victims. Maria's story mirrors the biblical account of the widow who, in her poverty, gave her last 2 coins with faith and hope. Like that widow, Maria sought a way to provide for her children, believing that the farm might offer a glimmer of hope for her struggling family. But instead of finding assistance, she walked into a trap of unimaginable horror. Kudzai Andalovu, a 35-year-old single mother, was the second woman lured to the farm. Her motivations were likely similar to Maria's, to find employment or aid for her children. Both women, driven by desperation and hope, were tragically betrayed by those who were supposed to be their benefactors. The horror of what happened next is difficult to fathom. Olivia, his son, and their accomplice executed the women with cold-blooded precision. The man who accompanied them managed to escape, though he was injured. Maria and Kudzai, however, were not so fortunate. Their bodies were discarded in the pigsty, where the pigs began to feed on their remains, turning their tragic end into a gruesome spectacle. This brutal act evokes a reversal of the biblical story of the prodigal son, who, in his lowest moment, longed for the pig food he tended. Here, the roles are grotesquely inverted, innocent lives reduced to nothing more than fodder for pigs, a perverse commentary on human cruelty. Maria's brother, alarmed by her disappearance, launched a desperate search. His inquiries led him to Olivia's farm, where he asked about his sister's whereabouts. The responses he received were deceitful and evasive, echoing Cain's infamous question to God, "Am I my brother's keeper?" The workers and Olivia himself feigned ignorance, while Maria's body lay just feet away, already being consumed by the pigs. It wasn't until August 20th, 2 days later, that the police raided the farm and uncovered the horrific scene. The bodies of Maria and Kudzai were discovered, showing clear signs of having been shot before being discarded. The discovery was a stark confirmation of the horror that had unfolded, a grim testament to the cruelty that can reside in the human heart. Despite the severity of the crime, the response from both the public and authorities has been disturbingly muted. The court has ordered the protection of the accused identities, citing an ongoing investigation. This level of secrecy is particularly troubling in a nation like South Africa, where the wounds of racial and economic inequality are still fresh and deep. This case raises uncomfortable questions about justice and equity. Would the response have been different if the roles were reversed? If a black man had committed this crime against white victims? The disparity in how this case is handled compared to similar cases with different racial dynamics suggests a troubling bias in the pursuit of justice. The Bible warns us that the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. 1 Timothy 6 verse 10. In this case, whether driven by economic desperation, hatred, or another motive, the evil is palpable. Maria and Kudzai were seeking a means to provide for their families. Instead, they encountered a level of brutality that reduced their lives to mere fodder for pigs, a horrific end to their quest for survival. This story is more than just a news item. It is a stark reminder of the ongoing battle between good and evil, The biblical narratives of justice, compassion, and moral integrity are put to the test here. As we reflect on this tragedy, we are confronted with the choice of whether to act with justice and integrity or to ignore the suffering that unfolds around us. The story of Maria and Kudzai must not be allowed to fade into obscurity. Their lives were cut short in a manner so brutal that it demands attention and action. Their families deserve justice, and their stories must be told to ensure that their deaths were not in vain. As we delve deeper into the details of this case, we must consider the broader implications of such acts of violence. What does this tragedy reveal about the state of our society? How can we address the systemic issues that lead to such extreme acts of cruelty? And most importantly, how can we ensure that justice is served and that those responsible are held accountable? The Bible teaches us that the Lord is a God of justice. Isaiah 30 verse 18. In the face of such profound injustice, it is our duty to seek truth, demand transparency, and fight for the rights of those who have been wronged. The story of Maria and Kudzai is a call to action, a reminder that the battle against evil and injustice is ongoing, and that we all have a role to play in this struggle. In reflecting on this case, we are reminded of the profound moral and ethical questions that face our society. Are we willing to confront the darkness within and take a stand for justice, or will we turn a blind eye to the suffering of others? The choice is ours, and the consequences of our actions or inactions will resonate far beyond this tragic story. As we continue to explore and discuss this case, let us do so with the understanding that the fight for justice is not just about one case, but about ensuring that our society upholds the values of dignity, respect, and accountability for all. The lives of Maria and Kudzai deserve nothing less than a rigorous and transparent pursuit of justice. Their memory must be honored, and their story must serve as a catalyst for change and a reminder of the ongoing need for vigilance against cruelty and injustice. In the end, let this tragedy be a powerful reminder of the importance of standing up for what is right, of challenging the forces of evil, and of working tirelessly to ensure that every life is valued and every voice heard. The battle between good and evil is not confined to the pages of ancient texts. It is a real and ongoing struggle that we must all engage in with courage and conviction.